Hi, I'm Melanie from Yoga Within. Thanks for joining me today. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, don't forget to go and hit that little red subscribe button and join our YouTube channel. As always, if you have any injuries or anything you feel that you should consult with your doctor before you do the practice, make sure you do. And today we are going to start in a seated position. If you happen to have one of these foam blocks handy, or if you don't, a box of Kleenex probably will do the job. So grab that, set down your coffee, and then just find your most comfortable seated position. Adjust your glutes. If you need to sit up on a rolled up blanket, do that. Rest your hands and your knees on your lap, and just take a long deep breath in. Take a long letting go exhalation. And try that one more time. A long breath in. And a long letting go exhalation. Take a moment to connect with your breath, knowing that it's not necessary to force your breath, just to notice your breath. Mindful breathing. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I inhale peace. I exhale to release. I become aware of the connection to the ground supporting me, and I try to welcome that support. I let my mind slow down, and I try to find myself in this present moment. Slowly, awareness begins to return, and gentle movement finds its way back into the body, just letting the chin drop and letting the chin move slowly across the collarbone from side to side. You may find that you can increase the movement of the neck rolls, maybe going from shoulder to shoulder, or even extending the chin all the way up to the ceiling, back down and across and up on the other side. Move with awareness to what you need. Perhaps it's faster dynamic movement, or maybe you need to slow it down a notch or two. You are your own best teacher. And then let the head come back to the center. Lift the head up. Roll the shoulders back a few times and forward a few times. Bring the knees up, stretch the legs out, bounce into the knees. Rock a bit from side to side. Start rotating into the ankles. Go big circles. And go the other direction. And if you're slouching back, sit up nice and tall. It might even mean you need to bend your knees, which is fine. And then extend the arms, rotate into the wrists. Big circle, sit up tall. And go the other way. Good. And point and flex the hands and the feet. Let the movement stop. Take a deep breath in. Let the knees bend a bit. Tip the torso forward, just coming into that forward fold that feels good for you, that allows you a bit of challenge, but a full stretch where you can connect with your breath. Notice if you're holding your breath. Don't force it. Just notice it. And then bring yourself all the way back up, rolling those shoulders back. Keeping the legs straight, just bringing the fingertips to the floor, either just out from the hips or slightly back. Lift your chest up, lightly squeeze your shoulder blades and roll the eyeballs right up in the socket, just creating a little bit of a back bend. And then slowly bring the arms forward towards the thighs, round the back, drop the chin, soften the shoulders as you exhale. And an inhale brings you up, just warming the spine. And an exhale, squeezing the air out of the lower abdominals as you round, dropping the chin to the chest. Do this a few more times with your own breath, letting the movement originate in the low back first, with the head being the very last thing to move. One more time, lifting into that gentle back bend, really opening up the front body. And exhaling as you round, opening up the upper back, dropping the chin to the chest. Bringing yourself back up to an upright position, just bounce it out, rock it out. Good, and then cross your legs. So whatever leg, if it's not comfortable to cross your legs, stretch them out. Whatever leg is in front, pick that leg up, cradle it or hold it, and just rock through the hip a bit. Good, bring some circles into the hip. Try to keep the movement in the hip itself, not moving into the knee. Those of you leaning back, come on now, sit up tall. So maybe it means stretching the other leg out. Go both directions if you haven't. And then bring that leg in, wrap it around your head if that's what you do. Flex the foot, point the toes, just notice. Heel drops below the knee, heel in line with the knee. And for some of you, whatever leg you're cradling, take that same hand, pull the toes back and move them forward. And some of you may even be able to get your fingers interlaced between your toes. And honestly, if you can't, I would highly recommend that you do this much more often. Your feet hold you up your whole life. It's good. And release, stretch that leg out, squeeze the toes, spread them. Just notice maybe there's a little bit more flexibility in the foot. How does your hip feel? And then switch your legs. Again, you can keep that other leg straight if you like. If I have this heel really close to my body, I'm leaning back. So I tend to slide it out a bit on this side, just rocking. And you start to notice the difference from side to side. Pay attention to your breath. It tells you your story. So maybe there's a bit of tightness in the hips today and you find yourself holding your breath. Try to use your breath to create a sense of release or letting go. Go into the circles, both directions. Try to keep the circles out of the knee. By keeping my hand here, I have the awareness go the other way if I'm moving my knee or if I'm just supporting. And then take your same hand, same foot, move those toes, don't slouch back, I'm watching you. Good, and then try interlacing your fingers between these toes. You might find one foot is easier than the other. Squeeze and release, squeeze and release. And then release that leg, stretch it out, squeeze the toes, spread the toes and open and close. Just notice maybe you have a little bit more circulation in that foot. Now stretch them both out, point and flex, squeeze the toes and release. Good, adjust the glutes. You may find again that you need to sit up on that block or blanket. Take one leg out and bend the other knee, bring it in. Readjust your glutes. Now you may need something under that bent knee. And twist over that straight leg. It's good. If at any point this hurts your shoulders, just keep your hands on your hips. Otherwise, extend the arms forward, coming over the leg, and you may find that you need to bend the knee. Try to keep the weight as even as you can on everything connected to the ground. And then bring yourself up, opening the arms. Coming forward, pressing through that big toe mound on the straight leg. And coming up, use both feet, even though they're in different positions. Forward again. And back up, opening. Bring your torso back to the center, lower a hand down to the straight leg. Don't try to reach for your foot. In fact, back off a bit, perhaps even going to the shin. And bring the opposite arm just forward in front. Breathe in here, and as you breathe out, bring this arm into the low back, palm faces out, and come into a side bend. Bring yourself back up, extend that arm over the bent knee, and reach. Back up, arm moves forward, into the side bend, arm moves behind the back, and you feel the breath in that hand behind you. Try to build some strength in the head and the neck. Don't let the head hang, so keep the neck in line with the spine. Bringing yourself back up, bringing the arm forward, and then open and reach. This one glute wants to lift. Keep it down. Good. Bring yourself back upright. Arm behind into the side bend. Coming back up. Arm comes open. Extend. Now this time, start sliding the hand down the straight leg. Come upright and bring the opposite arm underneath and reach. Coming back up. Open, lean, and back up. Reach under that arm. Breathing. Back up. Lean, straight spine, and bring that arm under, twist. Bring yourself back up, open the arms, come over that straight leg, bringing the hands behind the back, palms face out. Come back up, arms open at shoulder height. Going forward, hands behind the back, don't thrust your chin. Breathing. And back up. Remember, it could be with the knee bent. Last time, coming forward. Bringing yourself up and coming back to the center. Now see if you can take this straight leg, bring it over across the other knee, and bend at the knees. So in this shoelace type position, if that's not possible, just sit cross-legged with this leg on top. Or if you like, you can even straighten the other leg out and do a half shoelace. Just see what's better for you. Now extend the arms out from the shoulders. And bring your arms towards each other and then cross, bringing the opposite arm on top. Bring the hands to the shoulders. Seeing if you can keep elbow on top of elbow, open the arms so the fronts of the hands, they might touch. And then bring the hands back to the shoulders. Lift the elbows up a bit. And again, open the hands. Close the hands. Lift the elbows a little higher. Open, bringing the backs of the fronts of the hands together. And then back. Open the arms wide, rotate the shoulders, interlace your fingers behind your back. You can always use a strap or hold your elbows and take the body forward. Try not to thrust your chins. I know some of you do. Drop your gaze down to the floor. Bring yourself all the way back up and release the hands. Roll the shoulders out. Take that leg down. Come into this butterfly position and rock it out. Rock it out. You can get your shoulder right down to the knee if that works for you today. And then bring yourself back up. Stretch the other leg out. Bring it out to the side. Reposition. You might need a block under that bent knee. You may need to readjust your glutes. Just see what feels right. Twist over the straight leg. Take the body forward. Remember, you can do this with the hands on the hips. Coming up, arms open. Coming forward, weight stays even with everything on the ground. Neck stays in line with the spine. Coming up, reach through the fingers. And forward. Some of you did it 3 times. Some of you did it 4 times. Some of you are watching, but that's okay because I know you'll do it later. Breathing. Good. Come forward one more time. Or not. Remember, it's your practice. And bring yourself back up. Bring the torso to center. Lower the hand to the floor. Bring the hand to the hip. Or you can keep the arm out. Coming into the side bend. Breathing. You can bring the arm forward if you like. You can do what you did last time. Coming up. Reach. Coming into the side bend, bringing the hand into the low back, feeling the breath. Bringing yourself up. Do what feels right for you. You can bring the arm forward if you like. Breathing. Remember, it is your practice. Coming up, reaching. One more time into the side bend. Try to feel the breath in the low back. Try not to let the head drop. Good. Bring yourself up. Extend. Now this time the arm sweeps under the arm with the straight leg. Moving into a slight twist. Keep the weight even on the glutes. Bringing yourself up. Reach. And over and under. Breathing. And up. Reach. Last time. Under. Try to smile. Use your feet. And up. Bringing the hands behind the back. Twist over the straight leg. Forward. You can bring the arms forward if you like. And coming up, or you can reverse it. What would be beneficial for you, for the movement through the hips, through the shoulders, into the spine? Breathe. Coming up, bringing yourself back to the center, taking that straight leg again, bringing it over top of the other knee, coming into that shoelace position, or you can do the half shoelace, or you can sit with your legs crossed, just having the opposite knee on top. Walk the arms up, and again, crossing the opposite arm on top. Arm elbows are just a little bit below the shoulders, bringing the fronts of the hands together, moving the shoulders lightly apart. Hands come back to shoulders, elbows lift, bringing the fronts of the hands towards each other. Hands back, arms lift a little higher, bringing the hands, they may or may not touch. And releasing hands back to shoulders, arms open. You can always rest the hands in the low back if that's better for you. If you did interlace your fingers, interlace them the opposite way and take the body forward to what's forward for you. And it might be right there. If I come too far forward, there's no more weight in my glutes. So try to keep the weight in your glutes. Not thrusting the chin, take the tension out of the neck. And bring yourself back up. Keep those arms lifted. And release. Roll the shoulders out. And stretch the legs out. Bounce into the knees. Rock it out a bit. Swing the legs behind. And come onto your hands and knees. Good. Take a moment. Set the foundation. Perhaps having your hands a little bit wider. Tops of the feet on the floor. Now tuck your toes. Lift your tail, expand your belly. So similar to what we did in the seated position. Then as you exhale, tuck the tail, squeeze the air out of the lower abdominals, chin to chest. And inhale as you lift the tail, expand the belly, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades. Do that a couple more times. And you know, if you find that I had you move your hands too wide apart, put them where you know you need them. The next time you're in this rounded position, pause, drop the bottom back to the heels, stay there, or lift your knees and find downward dog. If you're in downward dog, walk that downward dog out. Adjust the legs according to your back and hamstrings. If you are in child's pose, you can rock the bottom across the heels a Then bring your knees down to the mat, place the tops of the feet on the floor. Move the hands farther forward than the shoulders. Send the hips to the left, back to the heels, over to the right. Move the torso past the hands and just make these circles. Let the elbows bend. Adjust your hands. You might need them farther apart, farther forward. Go about 4 times in that direction. And then pause. Go 4 times or 5 times in the other direction. Notice if the weight is even on your feet, because if it's not and there's no weight in the feet, good chance it's all in your kneecaps or in your wrists. Keep breathing. And when you've gone about the same in each direction, pause. Tuck the 10 toes, send bottom back to heels. Stay there. You're in a little bit wider downward dog or longer, or enter, child's pose, or enter downward dog from that position and walk it out if you're in downward dog. Remember, if you do things the same way all the time, you start getting the same results, creating the same mental habits and physical habits. So it's all about becoming accustomed to change. Good. And then bring yourself onto your hands and knees, tops of the feet on the floor, and slide yourself down onto your belly. Bring your elbows under your shoulders. Now this is where you may want this foamy block or your box of Kleenex, if you have your box of Kleenex, and you want to put it, well, you might not want to, but you should, put it between your elbows and have your palms flat. So a Sphinx position. Sphinx pose is a back bend. So your legs are either hip width apart, they can be a little bit wider, and you're breathing. So back bends come from using your legs. Spread your toes. Now you can perhaps see that I'm sinking down. So my chest is resting on the block. I want to squeeze my elbows lightly into the block, press down into my palms and my forearms and my elbows and lift myself up. The next action that happens is I move my torso forward and I open my shoulders, breathing, breathing, breathing. Your glutes are active, they're just not overactive. And if you start to find yourself sinking, you know that you're not working from the inside out. So find the actions, do the work to get the best results. When you come down slowly. You'll have to slide the block out of the way. You can rest your head on the block if you like, or rest your head on your palms. You can bend the knees and let them rock a bit from side to side. And then bring your legs down. Bring yourself back up, set your foundation, which is anything on the ground. Get that block between the elbows, so you're thinking shoulder, elbow, elbow, wrist in line, as opposed to that. Again, do the work. So use the legs. The elbows draw towards the hips towards the elbows. You're breathing, you're squeezing into the block. If this is enough, stay there. Some of you may be able to lift the block and move into more of a cobra position. The hip bones are on the ground. Breath is strong. Bend the elbows, hover. Lower down, pause. Remember, the pauses allow us to check in. Make sure we're not practicing harming. We're practicing non-harming. And then release, slide the block out. Bend the elbows if that's what your preference is. If you did turn your head last time, turn it the opposite way. And bend the knees, let them rock. If you know that pressing child's pose is a better option for your back, then I suggest that's what you do. Good, legs come down. We'll do it one more time so you have options. You can do it simply in Sphinx, which isn't simple at all. It's actually a lot of work if you're doing it properly. You can stay in Sphinx. Or you can pick the block up, hover here a bit with the elbows bent, lift the chest. You can straighten the arms if you like, keep the breathing, lengthening the neck, not compressing, long. Breathe, then bend the elbows, hover here. Chest is open, coming down into the Sphinx, pausing, and then coming down and releasing. Again, if you turned your head, turn it the opposite way. Bring your legs down, bring your hands under your shoulders, push up onto your hands and knees. Open your knees nice and wide, touch the toes together or, have them point, and start sending your bottom back to your heels. Now, sometimes it feels nice to rest your head on the prop. It elevates the torso, so if there's any dizziness from blood pressure issues or lack of water, or just often it allows the bottom to drop down to the heels more. If that's not your preference, don't use it, slide it out of the way. And then bring yourself all the way back up, back onto the hands and knees below the hips, 10 toes tucked. You can slide the block out of the way for a moment. And just move yourself to the back end of your mat and tuck your 10 toes under. It's good. Think shoulders, elbows, wrists. If the shoulders bother you, move the hands farther apart and lift the knees up off the floor. And breathe there. Keep strength in the head, so don't hang it. You can turn it one way and then turn it the other way. Notice how it's feeling. It distracts you from this core strength. Squeeze into your inner upper thighs like you're holding that block between your legs. And then lower the knees down. Drop the bottom to the heels. Lift the hands off the floor and shake out the wrists. If this is uncomfortable in your knees at all, just come right up. Good, so bring yourself back to that same position, toes tucked, knees below the hips, and lift again. And if this is good, don't go any farther. But this might be better. Pick up your left hand, move it. Pick up your right foot, move it. Right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. So you're going for a walk. Get to the front edge of your mat. Hover. Knees down. Toes are tucked. Drop back. Take care of the wrists. Rotate. Shake out. Good. Come back to that tabletop position. Lift the knees. Hover. And if that's enough, don't go any farther. Otherwise, we're going backwards. Lift the left foot and the right hand. Move them. Same hand, or opposite hand, foot, but moving at the same time. Pause. Walk to the center of your mat, however you like. Pause and hover. Send bottom back to heels, downward dog. Or you can put the knees down and go to child's pose. There's always options. Now, if you're in child's pose, you may want to do this. If you're in downward dog, you may want to do this. Bend the knees if you're in downward dog. Don't let the legs be locked. Pick one hand up off the floor. Bring it into the low back. Palm faces up. And breathe. And then bring that hand back. Bring the other hand into the low back and really notice the shift in the foundation. And bring it back. Now bring both hands back. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do it. Remember, I told you, don't always listen to me. Now walk your hands back towards your feet, ending up in a forward fold. If you're in child's pose, go back into child's pose. And then walk your hands forward so you're in downward dog. And you can go from child's pose to tabletop. Now this time, if you're in downward dog, take as many tiny steps as you can. Try to keep your hands flat if you can. And get into a half or a full fold. If you're in child's pose, just get there however it's best for you. And check out the foundation. For some of you, that block that you had or the Kleenex box, maybe your hands rest on it. And the beauty of those things is they can go different heights. For some of you, your hands will be on the floor. And then very slowly walk the hands up the legs, bringing yourself all the way up. Lift the arms. Good. Lower the arms. Take the arms out to the sides. Lift them as high as you can. Lower them back down. Arms come forward. They might stop at shoulder height. And up. And down. Arms out to the side. That might be it. Or all the way up. And lower down. One more time. Forward and up. Stay connected at the core. Forward and down. Out to the side. All the way up or not. And down. Good. Go back and forth from the toes to the heels. Rock it out a bit. Stand at one edge of your mat and step out about one of your leg lengths. Put your hands on your hips and take your right foot and turn it out. It actually doesn't matter which leg you use. And then the other foot, the back one, can be at 90 or turned in slightly. Open your arms parallel to the floor. Keep your hands on your hips if your shoulders hurt. And draw your legs in towards each other. Now extend over that leg where the foot's pointing straight ahead. And bring yourself back up. Use the strength of your legs. Extend. Now this time bring the back arm into the low back. Come up, extend the arm. Arm into the low back. Come up and extend the arm. Keep that straight leg with a tiny micro bend in the knee. Bring the arm in the low back. Now release that hand so the fingertips rest on the shin. And on an exhalation, twist down over that straight leg. And then bring yourself up. If that's enough, stay like that. Otherwise, the hand in the low back extended up and come down. Maybe the palms meet. And back up. Squeeze your legs towards each other. And back down. Unlock that straight leg. And up. Root big toe mound, little toe mound in the center of the heel on both feet. Coming down. Up to stay. Bring yourself back up to standing. Bring your hands to the hips. The back heel lifts. And you pivot, bending that front knee, coming into a high lunge. Breathing. Breathing. Readjust your foundation if you need to. Let the arms open to a T. Bring the arms forward at shoulder height, lean. Coming up, arms open to a T. You can always just keep the hands on the hips. Or if the shoulders don't hurt, bringing the arms up, elbows by ears, leaning forward. Open the arms to a T. Elbows back by ears. Knee stays bent. Coming up, back leg straight. One more time, coming forward. Open. Arms by ears. Come up. Straighten the front leg. Bring your hands to your hips. All 10 toes point straight ahead. Heel toe the feet in. Bend the knees, rest the elbows on the thighs. Go back and forth from toes to heels. Root the feet evenly. Stay here or drop the arms. Walk the fingertips forward. Walk them wider than the shoulders. Stay there. Or as long as you're not dizzy, Send the weight back, drop the ears between the arms, lift the fingers off the floor, and find this wide-legged version of downward dog. Good. You either come up with the ears between the arms or bend the knees, put the palms on the thighs, and walk up. Lower the hands to the hips. Heel toe your feet out just a little bit wider if you can. The other foot turns out. The back foot either stays at 90 or comes in. Arms are open, unlock that front leg, lean. It's good, breathing. Coming up. Bring the hand in the low back. Make sure you feel the breath in the back body, breathing. So your choice, whether you keep the arms straight or whether you bring the hand in the low back. Unlock that front leg. Good. Try to do the same number to both sides. Some of you probably did one, then had a cup of coffee. Some of you maybe did 2 or 3 or 4. The next time you're over, bring the hand into the low back, lower the other hand, breathe here, and then turn over that leg. Come back up. You may need to reposition the front leg. Remember, this is a lot of balance. Some of you may prefer extending the arm up, turning the other palm, rotating down. The weight is even on both feet. The legs are active. The neck stays in line with the spine. You're trying to build that strength in the neck. Why let the head hang? Use your breathing. Do 5, do 10, do 3, do 4. Just keeping the mind present within the breath, where we're in the here and now and the risk of injury is lessened. Bring yourself back up. Bring the hands to the hips. Lift the back heel. Pivot the toes and bend the front knee. Now you may need to reposition your foundation, which is your feet. So don't be afraid just to, step around. It doesn't have to be beautiful, graceful. Arms can be open at shoulder height or hands can be on the hips. Arms forward. Arms open, front hip back, knee above heel. If your preference is arms up, coming forward, open, keep strong and stable through the legs. Hips are pointing straight ahead as it's not a twist. Breathing, and you want stability through that low back area. Coming up. You may have done one more on this side. You might not have. It's really up to you. Straighten the front leg. Pivot the feet, lower the arms down. Heel toe the feet in if you need to. Bend the knees, send the hips back. Again, you can stay here. Or if you prefer that same wide downward dog movement where you're sending the hips up and back and the legs may or may not be straight, try not to let the fingers rest on the floor. Use the strength of the legs. Either bend the knees, put the palms on the thighs to come up, or keep the head between the arms. Lower the arms down and heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Go back and forth from the toes to the heels. Coming up on the balls of the feet, find your way up to the very front of the mat and lower your heels down. Bring the arms up or put the hands on your hips and bend to one side. Doesn't matter which way you go. We're going the other way too. Bring yourself up. Use the strength of your legs. Good. Coming all the way up. Add a gentle back bend. So hands on the glutes, backs of the thighs. Hold the elbows. What feels best. Neck long. Open that front body. Unclench your teeth. Coming up as you breathe in, bending from the hip creases as you fold forward. If a half fold is better for you, do a half fold. Adjust your foundation, which is your feet. So if your back or hamstrings hurt, you probably need your feet a little farther apart with a bit of a bend in your knees. And place the hands on the floor, step back into downward dog. If you prefer tabletop, by all means, go into tabletop. Walk this downward dog out a bit. Now bring your knees to the mat. Come down onto your elbows. Place the tops of your feet on the floor to start with, and bring your palms together. Imagine here, or you don't even have to imagine, take your block, put it between your elbows, and touch your palms together. Good, now tuck your 10 toes under. Lift your knees up off the floor. Stay here, or send the hips back and begin to straighten the legs a bit or a lot as you squeeze into that block. Let your neck relax, bend the knees, hover, knees come down, tops of the feet onto the floor. You can slide your hips back, resting your head on the block. And then bring yourself all the way up. You can transition into downward dog or leave downward dog out. If you don't want downward dog, walk it out. And then bring your feet forward between your hands, however you can get them there. Either walk your hands up the legs or take the arms out and come all the way up. Lowering the arms down. Arms come up or hands to hips. Bend to one side. Keep your breathing, keep your legs all the way up, over to the other side. Coming back up, add the back bend. You can always keep the arms up if you can keep the arms back farther than the head, as opposed to this compressing. Strength of the legs, use the glutes, just don't overuse. All the way up, folding halfway or all the way forward. Do what you need to do. Stepping back to downward dog or tabletop to child's pose, walking it out. Get those hips moving way up and back. Knees to the floor. Keep your toes tucked, elbows under the shoulders, palm to palm. Use the blocks if you like. Lift the knees, do the hovering. Stay in the hover or send the hips back. Begin to straighten the legs, keep releasing the neck, do the work through the arms. You can move the torso forward if you like. Don't drop the butt down though. And send it back. Move it forward, squeeze into that block. And back. I think you can do one more, I'm pretty sure. And forward, and if you can't, that's okay. I can't actually see you. And back, knees down, tops of feet to the floor, interlace your fingers, slide your hands back, rest your head on your fists. If you prefer reaching back to the feet, then by all means. But really know, why am I doing what I'm doing? And then curl yourself up, roll your shoulders back. Roll them forward. Always remember, if this isn't comfortable, don't sit like this. Sit cross-legged. Come forward, tuck your toes, walk your hands back to your knees. If the squat's not working for you, then sit down however you like. Come up. If you're able to walk forward a bit on your mat, do that. Lower down from the toes to the heels to the bottom. Coming into a forward fold. So remember, heels forward, and then I lean back. So I need to lift my hips and tilt my pelvis to come forward. You may find that you can do it with straight legs. Explore what happens in your forward fold if you bring your hands behind your back. Those of you thrusting your chin, stop. Good. And then move your arms forward. Bring yourself all the way up. Roll the shoulders back a few times and forward a few times. Bring yourself forward enough on your mat so when you come down, you'll have mat to lie on. Get down onto your back the way that you prefer. As long as the tailbone and the spine and the neck are good, you may want to try a few of these spinal rocks. But again, don't do it because I say it. Do it because you know it is a benefit to you. And once you get all the way down, just pause for a breath or two. Bring your knees into your chest. Open your knees and feet. And bring them towards each other. Open and close. Just massaging the spine a bit. You may find that you need a little support under the head. Or maybe it's just adjusting, lifting the head, tipping the chin down a bit to keep that natural curve in the neck. And then go into some circles. Knees and feet together or apart. Move the thighs away from the chest. And then reverse it. Go the other way. Go fast or slow. You know how you're feeling. And you know, often we do things a little bit mindlessly and we don't really know how we're feeling. Yoga is that time where you check in, tune in, and start to notice, actually, how am I feeling? And then pause at the center again. Make yourself as tiny as you can. Could be holding the backs of the thighs if that's better for you. Some of you might be coming all the way up, just getting that added massage into the lower abdominals, that area where we bottle up so many emotions. And then let the head come down. Let the arms open to a T-like position. And then if you can, roll over and drop your knees to the right. That's good. Now you may find that you need something under your knees or under the bottom knee. Now take your head and turn it, look over to the left arm. Pick that left arm all the way up off the floor, reach up towards the ceiling, and then lower it down to the bottom hand. Bring it all the way up, reach up, keep looking at that upper arm if you can, and then lower it back behind you. That's bottom arm, the right hand could come up to the top knee. Bring it back up, reach, and close. Try it at least once more. Bringing it up, reach, reach, and over. If it hurts to turn your head, then don't turn it. Now this time, bring it up, reach, lower it down, keep the fingers on the floor, and start dragging those fingers to the floor above the head. If you can look up at the fingers, perfect. You might need that right hand on that left knee. See if you can roll it behind you back to shoulder height. And then bring it back around your head. Pay attention to your neck movement. So if it's hurting to look up at the fingers, release the neck movement a bit. Some of you may need something under the head. The head stays on the floor. Don't lift it up off the floor. Try that a couple more times. This is great for the posture, good for golfing. Use your breath. It really starts to point out the differences from side to side, although we haven't done the other side yet. The next time the arm is on the ground behind you, in that T position, stop. Open both arms. Bring the knees up to the center. Release that, rocking it out a bit or doing the circle. Some of you may even find happy baby is what you need. Or maybe it's even feet on the floor. Bring the thighs back into the chest, open the arms again, and drop the knees the opposite way you did, or I'm going to the left. Again, that left hand may come up to the top knee. Look over to the right arm if you can. Lift that right arm up, 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 so it's like shoulders above shoulder. Lower the hand down to the ground. Bring it up, reach, get that movement in the upper back and over. Breathing, try to take a breath here. It's in the holding that you really do start to create the change. Back up. Reach, try to think shoulder above shoulder and over. Be aware of the movement in the neck. One more time, up and open. And if you did more repetitions on the other side or less, even it out. If it's not even, nothing will happen. Bring the arm up and down. And now start bringing the arm to the floor overhead. Look up at those fingers if it's possible. Use your breathing. Once you start moving onto this second side, you really hopefully have that awareness of how different we tend to be from side to side. It's very rare for most of us that both sides of our body feel the same, and this changes from day to day. Even if we did this same thing later on tonight, it would be different, or later on in your day. When you finish with the arms in a T position. If you need more time for more repetitions, take it. Come back to the center and release. You may find that happy baby is what you need. Don't strive to hold your feet. Remember, there's not a goal. The idea is to find ease in the body, because when we find our greatest ease, we can start working into strength. You want that balance. Strength and ease, flexibility and strength. And then you may want to stretch the legs straight up in the air. That might be enough, just breathing into the lower belly. Some of you may want to open the legs, extend the arms through, and lift the torso up off the floor, but keep those legs strong. Do the work. Torso down, legs together, arms come down, maybe just to shoulder height, and straight legs down unless the back hurts, in which case bend the knees. Now take a really big deep breath in, just tighten everything up as tight as you can. And a big, long, loud letting go exhalation. Try that one more time. Find a tight body. And as you exhale, recognize what it feels like to let go. Give yourself time for any last movements you might need. And then let yourself settle into Shavasana. Whether it's bending the knees or a bolster under the knees or legs up the wall. Just find that ease in your body. Try to reconnect with your breath. Let your mind slow down and just follow the ebb and the flow of the breath. I inhale peace. I exhale to release. And let my body soften and allow the warmth of relaxation to move gently within me. My mind rests within that bright light of peace within my heart. And I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Take all the time you need in Shavasana. Remember, it is a gift to yourself and a gift to everyone else in your life when you find that time just to treat yourself with some loving kindness. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your practice with me today. Namaste. Remember, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day.